You might have heard about all the introductory lectures in our previous lecture by Professor H.S. Shukla. I'm not going to discuss about the details of the text which have been already told. I will come to the first chapter of this Abhidhammattha Saṅgaho. Before coming to this chapter 1 of Abhidhammattha Saṅgaho, let us discuss what is Abhidhamma first of all in a brief manner. Then I will come to the first chapter. And I think that you all have this reading material which have been supplied to you all. So after introductory class or this introductory lecture on Abhidhamma, I will come to the text, then it will be more clear to you. As we know that Abhidhamma philosophy is a psycho-ethical thought and practice which takes a bearing from the state of suffering to the state of eternal bliss. Whenever we are talking about a path, there are questions which are arising related with this path. That there is a suffering, there is a person who is in the suffering. What is the relation between these two, and what is the way of cessation of this thing? When we are talking that what is the suffering, then we are quite aware that suffering is nothing but disagreeable feeling. कायिक asata vedana ti dukkham or dukkarena khamti ti dukkham, that which is not agreeable to our feeling, this is called as suffering. If you go to the first noble truth, it has been said, jati pi dukkha, jara pi dukkha, maranam pi dukkham, appiyehi sampayogo dukkho, piyehi vipayogo dukkho, yam pi iksham tam na labti tam pi dukkham, sankhitena panchupadhan khandati dukkham. There are 8 kinds of suffering which have been discussed in the first noble truth. Now, the second question is, who is in suffering? That a man is suffering. That a man is a composition of mind and matter, or naam and roop. And what is the relation between suffering and the man? The third question which arises, this is nothing but this is the desire or trishna. If you go through the second noble truth, that is dukh samudaya arya satyam, you will find that yayam tanha panobhavika nandi rag sahagata tatra tatra vinandani setitam kam tanha bhav tanha vibhav tanha. So there are 3 types of desire: kam tanha, bhav tanha, and vibhav tanha. These are called as a relation between the suffering and the man. And the way of cessation of suffering, this is called as a path, that is called as Arya Thangiko Maggo. That is the noble eightfold path through which a person can remove the state of suffering. That is the way of cessation of suffering. Again, we have already heard that Abhidhamma is excellent and profound teachings of the Buddha. Dhamma tirek dhamma visesa thena Abhidhammo. In what sense it is excellent, profound, and special? It is in the sense of that Acharya Buddha Ghosh has defined Abhidhamma. Yam yath buddhimanto sa lakhana pujita parichinna buttadhikacha dhamma abhidhammo tinakkhatu. There are 5 attributes through which Abhidhamma we can understand that buddhimanto, that it is more elevated; pujita, that it is more reverent or worshipped; parichinna, that it is more distinguished; and buttadhikacha dhamma, that it has been said more than the sutta and vinay. This is called as Abhidhamma. Again, there are 3 attributes for vinay Abhidhamma also, for understanding the Abhidhamma. That is called as Paramattha Desana, Jatha Dhamma Sasanam, and Nama Rupa Parichhed Katha. Abhidhamma is called as Bohar Paramattha Desana because it prescribes the 4 reals, namely Chit, Chetasik, Roop, and Nibbana. Consciousness, psychic factors, material quality, and a state of eternal bliss. In that sense, it is called as Paramattha Desana. Abhidhamma is also called as Jathadhamma Sasanam, that it gives the difference or a similarity between the appearance and the reality. And as the thing really appear, Dhamma Sabhav, Pativedana Lakhana, that in that sense, a thing, what is the Samutti Sach and Paramartha Sach, whenever the things which are being distinguished, in that sense, it is called as Jatha Dhamma Sasanam. Again, the third attribute is Nama Rupa Parichhed Katha, that there are discourses of the Buddha which make distinctions between the mind and matter, that is the Nam and Rupa. So these are called as Abhidhamma. So Abhidhamma is a tradition which has been coming out at the time of the Buddha till here. So there is a Abhidhamma Parampara also. We are not going to discuss the history. But now, how this Abhidhammattha Saṅgaho, which is called as a compendium of Abhidhamma Pitaka. There are 7 texts of Abhidhamma Pitaka, namely Dhammasangani, Vibhanga, Dhatu Katha, Puggalpayati, Kathavathu, Yamak and Patthana. In these 4 texts, 7 texts, there are the 4 reals or Paramartha Dharma or Paramatha, namely Chitta Chetsika Rupa Nibbana. They have been described with the help of 122 Abhidhamma Matikas and 42 Sutanta Matikas. Matikas are those angles or visions through which the discourses of Abhidhamma are expressed in a very understandable manner. Matikas have been defined as Mata Viyati Matika, as a mother gives birth to a small baby, and a small baby is nourished and the baby becomes young. In the same way, Matikas are small points or angles or visions through which bigger ideas are expressed. So there are 2 types of Matikas, Abhidhamma Matika and Sutanta Matikas. Abhidhamma Matikas are those Matikas or metrics or visions or angles through which Tikmatika and Dukkmatikas are explained. Tikmatikas are having 3 questions, and altogether there are 22 Tikmatikas. Dukkmatikas are 100 in number, and each Dukkmatikas has 2 questions. That is why it is called as Dukkmatikas. And altogether there are 200 questions under the Dukkmatikas. So altogether 122 Abhidhamma Matikas have 266 questions in Dhammasangani. Again, there are 42 Sutanta Matikas, and Sutanta Matikas are also called as Dukkha Matikas, because each Sutta Matikas have 2 questions. And altogether there are 84 types of questions which have been explained under the Sutanta Matikas. So in Dhammasangani, these 122 Abhidhamma Matikas and 42 Sutanta Matikas have been explained in 4 chapters, namely Chittupadakand, Rupakand, Nikhepakand and Athudwarkand. And these have been explained in other supplementary texts like Vibhanga, Dhatu Katha, Puggalpayati, Kathavathu, Yamak and Pathan. And these 4 reals, Chitta Chetsika Rupa Nibbana, they have been discussed or explained in a very detailed manner. And it is very difficult for a beginner to understand the 4 reals in a very understandable manner. So there was a need of writing commentaries, and later on compendium were written on Abhidhamma Pitaka. So there were 9 compendiums. They are called as lethans or lady fingers manuals. Out of the 9 manuals of Abhidhamma, Abhidhammattha Saṅgaho is one of the manuals in which all the 7 texts, in which 122 Abhidhamma Matikas and 42 Sutanta Matikas, which have been explained, they have been concised way, they have been enumerated and they have given in a very essential or summary way in Abhidhammattha Saṅgaha. We have already seen that there are 9 chapters, and the first chapter is Chittu Chitt, in which we are having the first enumeration of the Abhidhamma. There are 4 reals which we have already discussed, that is the Chitta, Chetsik, Rupa, and Nibbana. So the first chapter, there is a Chitta which have been explained in the very detailed manner. Let us discuss what is Paramatha, and there are 4 reals. Out of the 4 reals, I am going to explain in a detailed manner what is Chitta. First of all, man is a composition of minor matter. We are quite aware. In another way called classification, a man is a composition of Panchaskandha, 5 aggregates, namely Rupa Skandha, Vedana Skandha, Sanya Skandha, Sanskara Skandha, and Biyana Skandha. Again, in another way classification, a man is a composition of Dwadas Aitana, 12 bases, and 18 dhatus, that is the 18 elements. So here we are going to discuss that what is the mind and Rupa. Here mind is called as Nama. In Dhammasangani, there is a question that Tat Katmam Namam, that what is the name or mind. It has been explained as Vedana Khando, Sanya Khando, Sankhar Khando, Beyond Khando, Asankata Cha Dhatu Idam Bucchati Namam. That Nam is the conglomeration or combination of Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and beyond. Here, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, these 3 are called as Chetsik, which is the second real Paramatha of the 4 reals, that is the Chitta, Chetsik, or Rupa, Nibbana. So out of the 52 types of psychic factors, Vedana is 1, Sanya is 1, and 50 types of Sankharas. Altogether, there are 52 types of psychic factors, which will be discussed in the second chapter by another resource person. The first is called as Chitta. So here, Nam, beyond is nothing but it is another name of Chitta, that is the 89 or 121 types of consciousness, which have been explained by Acharya Aniruddha in a very detailed manner in the first chapter of Abhidhammattha Saṅgaha, which we are going to discuss. First of all, the text gives salutations to the Blessed One. If you go through the text, you will find that how the Acharya Aniruddha gives salutations to the Buddha, and he says that Samma Sambuddha Bhutalam, that he, the Blessed One, who is perfectly enlightened, and he is Atulam, that he is incomparable, and he is going to explain the 4 types of reals. So if you go through the text, if you have, then it will be more clear to you, and then we will come discuss about the Chitta. So here the text starts with the, if you see, Samma Sambuddhamuttalam Sadham Ganna Uttamam Abhivadiyam Bhasisasi Abhidhammattha Saṅgaham, that Acharya Aniruddha says that the Blessed One, who is the perfectly enlightened, who is uncomparable, and Sadham Ganna Uttamam, that Sadhamma, that is the noble Dhamma. Here Dhamma is that which takes a being from the state of suffering to the state of eternal bliss, that is the Dharetiti Dhammam. Here Dhamma is the Sadhamma. Sa is the in the sense of together. Sadhamma means that is the noble Dhamma. And there is a Gan Uttamam, that is the excellent, or you can say the good assembly, that is the Sangha. Assembly is the name of persons which have assembled together after discriminating all the discriminating factors. So Gan Uttamam, that the Blessed One who has formed the Gana, that is the Sangha, that is Gan Uttamam. Abhivadiyam Bhasisam Abhidhammattha Saṅgaham, that he is going to explain the exposition. Saṅgaha is in the sense of exposition. Arth is in the sense of Paramarth, that is the four reals, that is the Chitta, Chetsika, Rupa, Nibbana. Abhidhamma is here, that is the Dhamma Tirek, Dhamma Vises, Athena, Abhidhammo. So here, Abhi iti Atirek, Vises, Ath Dipiko. And Dhamma is in the sense of teachings of the Buddha, but here, Dhamma is in the sense of Chatudha Paramarth, namely Chitta, Chetasik, Rupa, and Nibbana. So here in the next verse, if you go through the next verse, you will find that Tat, that here Abhidhammattha Saṅgaha. So here Abhidhammattha Saṅgaha, there Tat Butta Abhidhammattha Chatudha Paramathato Chitta Chetsikam Rupam Nibbanam Ti Sabbatha. So here that Butta Abhidhammattha, the reals which have been said in the Abhidhamma. Chatudha Paramathato, there are four types of reals, namely Chitta, Chetasik, Rupa, and Nibbana. Consciousness, psychic factors, Rupa, and Nibbana, a state of eternal bliss. I am not going to discuss the Chetasik, Rupa, and Nibbana. Now we are coming to the Chitta, which we are going to discuss through the text. So we are going through the text. So here, let us discuss what is Chitta. Chitta is consciousness. We have already seen that Nam is the combination of Chitta and Chetasika. That where there are 89 types of over 121 types of consciousness and 52 types of psychic factors, they are making together mind or Nam. So here Nam is Chitta and Chetasika. Tatme Dhamma Nama, Chitta Chetsika Dhammati Nama. So here we are talking about only Chitta. So Chitta has been defined as Alamban Chinteti Ti Chittam, Bijanati Ti Yatho. That Chitta is that which thinks of an object, and it is in the sense of knowing the objects. There are six senses, namely Chakhu, Sot, Ghan, Jihva, Kay, and Mana. And there are six objects, Alamban, namely Rupa, Sad, Gandh, Ras, Fotabba, and Dhammayatana. So knowing the or thinking of an object, namely Rupa, Sad, Gandh, Ras, Fotabba, and Dhammayatana, this is called as Chitta. That is the Chinteti Ti Chittam, Alamban Chinteti Ti Chittam, Bijanati Ti Yatho, that it is in the sense of knowing the object, that this is the rope matter, or this is the audible sound, or this is the tongue. So knowing the object of any six kinds of objects which we are perceiving, this is called as Chitta. Again, there are, whenever we are defining any term, there are four things, Lakhan, Rasa, Pachupathan, and Padathan. So through which we can understand any technical term. Whenever we are talking about Chitta, it has the characteristic of knowing the things, that when the things are being cognized or known by our objects, namely Chakhu, Sot, Ghan, Jihva, Kay. This is the book, this is the bag, this is the duster, or this is the board. The objects which are being cognized by our sound, this is called as Chitta, and it has the characteristics Bijanati Tiyato. Bijanan has the characteristics of the Chitta. What is the function? That is the rasa of Chitta. The rasa has its knowing the things in a very proper manner, that through which, and it has the only one function, that it becomes Purnaran with all the dhammas which are associated with our consciousness. We are quite aware that mental factors or psychic factors, they are called Chetsikas, which are 52 in number. They are associated with our consciousness or Chitta. So our Chitta becomes foreigner. That is why it is called as Manopumangama Dhamma, Manosetta Manomaya. So here Manopubangama Dhamma. So our Chitta is the forerunner of all the associated states which are associated with our consciousness. So through which this is called, it has the only functions to become foreigner with all associates of consciousness. What is the third? That is the Pachupatthana. That is the, you can say, immediate cause of that or manifestation of our consciousness. There is a continuity at the time of the birth till our death, from the Bhavanga Chitta till the our Choti Chitta, that is the death consciousness. There is a continuity of our consciousness. The continuity of the consciousness is being observed, just like when the air or the waves are roaming on the surface of our river, and there is a tarang, there is a current on the river. In the same way, our consciousness is a, there are a stream of consciousness, that is the Chitta Santati, at the time of the birth till the, so it has the only, you can say, manifestation, Pachupatthana, that there is a Chitta Santati, or you can say continuity of the consciousness from the time of the birth till our consciousness. The last is the Pachupatthana, that is the immediate cause. Immediate cause of our consciousness is, that is the Asanna Karana, that is called as a Nama Rupa. The main immediate cause is that how our consciousness is associated with our material qualities, Rupa. How there is a combination of Chitta Chetsik and Rupa. In another way, how the Nama Rupa, that is the combination of Chitta Chetsika Rupa, form a personality of a human being. So this is the immediate cause of our consciousness. The main immediate cause of our Chitta is Nama Rupa. So these are the four things. Now we are coming to the nature of consciousness. Our consciousness is unsteady. It does not stay at one place. It roams from one place to another place within a single moment of time. The simile of roaming of our consciousness is given with the simile of a monkey. Just like a monkey roams from one branch of the tree to the another branch of the tree within a single moment of time. In the same manner, our consciousness roams from one place to another place, or from one object to another place within a single moment of time. So this is the our consciousness. The nature of the consciousness has been given. Even all the manifestation of our actions are being governed by our consciousness. Whatever we are doing, this is being governed by any one of the 89 or 121 types of consciousness. So through these 89 or 121 types of consciousness are called also as action. That is why it is called as Chetanaham Bhikkave Kammam Badami Chetetva Kai Kammam Bashi Kammam Mano Kammam Karoti. So Chetana is called, the Blessed One says that I call volition as an action, and through this action or volition, all the physical, vocal and mental actions are being performed. So all the actions which are being performed, whether it is physical, mental or vocal, this is being governed by our consciousness. So this is our consciousness, and it is also called as Chittamti Vichittam, that all the manifestations of our actions are being governed. So Chitta has a very significant role in our performing, whether it is physical action or vocal actions or mental actions. So this is the actions which we are going to discuss. So this is the classification. If you go through, there are 89 or 121 types of consciousness which have been given and which we are going to discuss through the text. This is a chart. If you go through that, all the 89 or 121 types of consciousness, they have been discussed with a view of planes of existence, that is the Bhumi. And whenever we talk about Bhumi, the consciousness has been divided in 4 planes of existence: Kamavachar Bhumi, Rupavachar Bhumi, Arupavachar Bhumi, and Lokuttar Bhumi. So these are the four bhumis through which all the 89 or 121 types of consciousness, they have been explained. So this is the chart. If you go through that in the Kamavachar Chitta, in planes of Kamavachar, we will explain that what is the Kamavachar. If you go through that, there are 54 types of Kamavachar Chitta. In Rupavachar Chitta, there are 15 types of consciousness. In Arupavachar, there are 12 types of consciousness. And in Lokottar, there are 8 or 40 types of consciousness which have been explained here. So altogether 121 or 89 types of consciousness, they have been explained. Again, 54 types of consciousness, they have been divided on the basis of Hetuk, Sahetuk, Sobhan Chitta, and Kusal Vipak Kriya Chitta. So if you go through, there are 12 types of Akusal Chitta and 18 types of Ahetuk Chitta and 24 types of Sobhan Chitta. They have been explained. So this is the diagram which we are going to explain in a very detailed manner on the basis of the text. Again, if you go through the Rupavachar Chitta, there are 15 types of Rupavachar Chitta, Kusal 5, Vipak 5, and Kriya 5. In Arupavachar Chitta, there are 12 types of Chitta, namely Kusal 4, Vipak 4, and Kriya 4, altogether 12. And in the Lokuttar Chitta, Lokuttar Bhumi, there are 8 types of consciousness, or in another way, there are 40 types of consciousness, which have been divided into 4 mag, 4 phal, or 20 mag, or 20 phal. So we will discuss in a detailed manner in our next class tomorrow. So this is the classification of our consciousness. So this is the classification of all the 89 types of consciousness, which we have discussed in our previous slide. If you see, Kamavachar Bhumi, 54, Rupavachar Bhumi, 15, Arupavachar, 12, and Lokuttar Bhumi, there are 8 or 40. How it becomes 40, we will discuss later on. So altogether, there are 89 types of consciousness, which we will discuss one by one. So here, let us discuss in a very brief manner that we are going to discuss Kamavachar Chitta. Again, we have discussed that Chitta has been discussed with the planes of existence, that is the Bhumi. Here, Kamavachar Bhumi, so there are 54 types of Kamavachar. Let us discuss what is Kamavachar. Kamavachar is made up of 3 words, Kam, Av, and Chara. Kam means Indriya Janita Sukha Siksha, the pleasure which is being experienced by our 5 senses, Chakhu, Sot, Ghana, Jihva, and Kaya. This is called as Indriya Janita Sukha Siksha, the pleasure which is being experienced by our 6 or 5 senses. So this is called as Kam. Av means is a prefix. Chara means that which moves. So Kamavachar Chitta or Kamavachar Bhumi, there are 54 types of consciousness. It has been defined as Kame Avacharati iti Kamavacharam. The Chitta or consciousness which moves in the realm of the sensual pleasure, this is called as Kamavachar Chitta. So altogether there are 54 types of Kamavachar Chitta, which have been discussed in under the 3 headings. First of all, called as Akusala Chitta. Second is Ahetuka Chitta, and third is Sobhan Chitta. So let us discuss the first Akusala Chitta. And whenever we are discussing about Chitta, we have already discussed that the Chitta is nothing but it is only the action. The 89 types of consciousness over 121 types of consciousness which have been explained. So here, Akusala Chitta, let us discuss that what is Akusala Chitta is that type of Akusala Chitta in which there are 3 types of Akusala roots. What is the roots? roots are in the sense of hetu, that is the akusal hetu and kusal hetu. Akusal hetus are 3 in number, lobha, dosa, moha. So there are 3 immoral roots through which our consciousness are associated. And akusal chit is the name of the consciousness which is associated with lobha, dosa, moha. What is lobha? Lobha is par sampatti haraniksha or par sampatti mama bhavaya. Let the being wealth or let the things be mine. This type of thinking called as lobha. That a desire to take the belongings of others, this is called as lobha. What is dosa? Par vinasa chinta, a desire to harm others, or antipathy, hatred. This is called as dosa. The second. The third is called as moha. Moha is that dham sabhav patichadhan lakhanati moho. That moha or ignorance has the characteristics to cover the nature of the reality, that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless, anicca, dukkha, and anartha. So these are the 3 immoral roots, and the consciousness which is associated with lobha, dosa, moha. This is the name of akusala chitta. We will discuss in a detailed manner that what are the consciousness and how 8 types of lobha chitta. We'll discuss one by one. So there are 8 types of lobha chitta. There are 2 types of dosa chitta, and there are 2 types of moha chitta. Again, ahetuka chitta. Ahetuka chitta, the consciousness which is not associated with any 6 kinds of roots, namely lobha, dosa, moha and alobha, dosa, moha. This is called as ahetuka chitta. So consciousness which is not associated with any types of roots, this is called as ahetuka chitta. Now a question arises that when consciousness is not associated with any kinds of roots, then how our consciousness functions? Then answer is that the actions, whether it is moral or immoral, which have been performed by a person in the past existence, based upon the resultant of the moral and immoral actions done in our past existence, there is the incoming of ahetuka chitta in the present time. So ahetuka chitta is the name of the consciousness which is not associated with our any 6 kinds of root, but they are the result or consciousness on the basis of the actions, whether it is moral or immoral, done in our past existence. So they are 18 in number. Akusal vipak, whatever we have done immoral actions in our past existence, they are 7 in number. And the resultant of the moral actions, kusal vipak, ahetuka chitta, they are 8 in number. And there are 3 types of kriya chitta, which is meant for a arhat or buddha only. There are 3 types of ahetuka chitta. So altogether there are 18 types of consciousness which are called as ahetuka chitta. Again, there are 24 types of sobhan chitta. Sobhan means beautiful. The consciousness which are moral in nature. And whenever we perform moral actions, there is the resultant of moral actions also. They are called as vipaka chitta. And there are kriya chitta which are meant for the arhat or buddha also. So altogether there are 24 types of sobhan chitta which we are going to explain. Now if you come to the text, then it will be more clear to you. So see here, now we are coming to the first akusala chitta. Whatever we have seen through the chart, we are going to discuss the akusala chitta. We have already seen that akusala chitta is the name of the consciousness which is associated with lobha, dosa, moha. So there are 8 types of lobha mulaka chitta. That is the somanasa sahagatam ditthigata sampayuttam asankharikam sasankharikam. Somanasa sahagatam ditthigata vipayuttam asankharikam sasankharikam. Then upekkha sahagatam ditthigata sampayuttam asankharikam. Upekha Sagatam Dittigat Sampayutam Sasankharikam and Upekha Sagatam Dittigat Sampayutam Asankharikam Sasankharikam. So if you come to the text, then you will see that how it has been discussed in our text. So next is Lobhamulaka Chitta. So here Akusal Chittani, if you come to the text, then you will see that Tat Katamam Kama Vacharam Chittam. So Lobhamulak Somanasa Sahagatam Dittigat Sampayutam Asankharikam. Somanasa Sahagatam Dittigat Sampayutam Sasankharikam. So there are 2-3 terms like Somanasa. Somanasa means that is the pleasant feeling. The Vedana is that a Sa Vedati iti Vedana. Vedana is that which is being experienced by touching of anything. And Vedana is of 5 types: Somanasa Vedana, Sukha Vedana, Dukha Vedana, Domanasa Vedana, and Upekha Vedana. So Somanasa Vedana, where there is the mental as well as a physical pleasant feeling, this is called as Somanasa. So consciousness which is associated with physical as well as mental pleasant feeling, this is called as Somanasa Sagatam. Ditthigat. Ditti is here the false views, that absence of the knowledge, that he is not aware of that what is the good and what is the bad. So Ditti is in the sense of the false views. And so Asankharikam means without the instigation of others or with the self. If a person does any immoral actions without the suggestion of others, or he does the immoral actions by himself, then this is, or suppose a person who kills a living being or any being without the suggestion of others, and he does not know that what is the good or what is the bad, this is called as Dittigat Sampayutta, Asankharikam. And whenever he is being asked or he is instigated to kill the living being or to steal anything which is not given to you, this is called as Dittigat Sampayutam Sasankharikam. In the same way, Somanasa Sagatam Dittigat Vipayuttam, that which is devoid of the false views, and Asankharikam. So there are 8 types of our Akusal Lobh Mulaka Chitta. So if you go through the text, then you will find that 8 types of Akusal Chitta have been given in your text. Then next is coming to Dos Mulaka Chitta. We have seen what is the Dos. Dos is the antipathy or hatred towards others. That how a person has a desire to harm others. It manifests in 2 ways. Domanasa Sahagatam. Domanasa Sahagatam means the consciousness which is associated with harming others. This is called as antipathy or hatred. And Patig Sampayuttam. Patig is also in the sense of Patigoti, doso ti par vinasa chinta. So here there are 2 types of consciousness, Asankharikam and Sasankharikam. It is a person who does any immoral actions related with our dosa, dvesa mulak chitta, then without the instigation of others or himself he does it. This is called as Asankharikam. And whenever a person who does immoral actions with the instigations of others, this is called as Sasankharikam. So there are 2 types of those mulak chitta. So if you go through the text, Domanasa Sahagatam Patik Sampayuttam Asankharikam Sasankharikam Ti Imani Patik Sampayuttam Chittani Nama. Now there are 2 types of Moh Mulak Chitta. So here Moh is that is the ignorance which covers the nature of the reality, that what is Anicca, Dukkha and Anatta. And it has only 2 types of consciousness, that is called as Upekha Sahagatam. So here, Upekha Sahagatam Vichikitsha Sampayuttam and Upekha Sahagatam Udhacha Sampayuttam. So there are 2 types of consciousness. What is Vichikitsha? Let us discuss. Vichikitsha is doubt or sansay, or here in our Abhidhamma traditions, Vicikiccha is dot related with the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, dot related with the law of dependent originations, dot related with the 10 types of precepts. This is called as Vicikiccha. So consciousness which is associated with the doubt related with the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, 10 types of precepts, and that is associated with the indifferent feeling. Indifferent feeling means that it has neither moral nor immoral, that it does not have any lobhamulak or dosmulak. It has only equality towards, or it behaves like indifferent way. So it is called as mudhjanesu upekha, that the feeling which arises in the full persons, that is called as upekha. So there are, and udhach is in the sense of iti tato dhavanam, that roaming of mind from one place to another place. This is called as udhach. And whenever our consciousness is associated with the distraction of mind, udhach, and this is also associated with indifferent feeling, this is called as upekha sahagatam udhacha sampayuttam. So these are the two types of mohamulaka chitta. In all akusala chitta, in the text has been defined attadha lobhamulani dosamulani chadve mohamulani chadve dwadasa akusalam siyam. If you go through the text, it has been seen that there are 8 types of lobhamulaka, 2 types of mohamulaka, dosmulaka, and 2 types of mohamulaka. Altogether, there are 12 types of akusala chitta. Then this is the our akusala chitta. Now we are coming to ahetuka chitta. These are the 18 types of ahetuka chitta which we are going to discuss. If you go through the text, there is a ahetuka chitta which have been given here. We have already seen that ahetuka chitta comes in our present day moment on the basis of the resultant of the moral and immoral actions which have been performed by a person in our past existence. So they are 18 in number, that is the akusal vipak, which are 7 in number, kusal vipak 18 number, and kriya chitta, which is meant for an arhat or buddha, they are 3 in number. So let us see one by one. Upekha sahagatam chakhu biyanam, upekha sahagatam sot biyanam, upekha sahagatam ghan biyanam, upekha sahagatam jihva biyanam, dukh sahagatam kaya vigyanam. Since it is the akusala, there is the dukh sahagata kaya biyanam. Then upekha sahagatam sampatichana chitta and upekha sahagatam santirana chitta. So there are 7 types of akusala chitta, akusal vipaka chitta, which are called as ahetuka chitta, which are being performed at this moment on the basis of resultant of moral and immoral actions done by a person in our past existence. Then kusal vipaka, they are 8 in number. So if you go through the text, the names have been given here. Upekha sahagata chakhu biyanam, upekha sahagata sot biyanam, upekha sahagata ghan biyanam, upekha sahagatam jihva biyanam, and sukh sahagatam kaya biyanam. So here there is the kusala, that is the moral actions which was performed by a person in the past existence. So there is a pleasant feeling in present time. There is the resultant which is moral in nature. So that is why it is called as sukha sahagata kaya biyanam. And there are upekha sahagata sampatichan chitta, somanas sahagatam santiran chitta, and upekha sahagata santiran chitta. So altogether there are 8 types of kusal vipaka which performed as a ahetuka chitta. There are 3 types of kriya chitta. They are, namely, if you go through the text, then you will see that how there are 3 types of ahetuka chitta which have been given. Upekha sahagata panchadwara bhajana chitta, somanas sahagata hasudpad chitta, and somanas sahagata manodwara bhajana chitta. So these are the 3 types of consciousness which are being performed by an arhat or a buddha. So they are called as kriya chitta. So altogether there are ahetuka chitta. So in the text, if you go through the text on the page number 20, the name The verse has been given, Sat kusal pakani pui pakani atthadha kriya chittani tiniti attaras hetuka. There are 7 types of kusal vipak, akusal vipak. There are 8 types of pui pakani. Punya means moral. There are 8 types of moral resultant of the actions which have been performed in the past existence, and there are 3 types of kriya chitta meant for an arhat or buddha. Altogether there are 18 hetuka. Now we are coming to the next sobhan chitta. This is the hetuka chitta. So here now we are coming to sobhan chitta. Sobhan chitta, sobhan means beautiful. The consciousness which perform moral actions or good actions, this is called as beautiful. And if a person performs the moral actions, there is the resultant of the moral actions also, they are called as vipak. And there are consciousness which are being done by an arhat or a buddha, that is called as kriya chitta. So altogether there are 24 types of Sobhana Chitta, namely Kusal 8, Vipak 8, Kriya 8. So let us discuss Kusal, that a person who does the moral actions, what are the 8 types of actions this have been given? Somanas Sahagatam Yan Sampayuttam Asankharikam, Somanas Sahagatam Yan Samputtam Sasankharikam, Somanas Sahagatam Yan Vipayuttam Asankharikam, Somanas Sahagatam Yan Vipayuttam Asankharikam. Then Upekha Sahagatam Yan Sampayuttam Asankharikam, Upekha Sahagatam Yan Sampayuttam Asankharikam, Upekha Sahagatam Yan Vipayuttam Asankharikam, Upekha Sahagatam Yan Vipayuttam Asankharikam. So there are 8 types of consciousness. Let us discuss one by one in a very brief manner. It would have been very much better if I give the one example for each consciousness. But because of the time, we have to perform all these within a single class. It is not possible to. But for this one, I am giving that there is a small boy in the house. A monk comes to the door of any family, and boy does not know that what is the merit of giving something to any beggar or a monk or bhikkhu. And he takes the things from the house and he goes to the at the door of the house and he gives the things to the bhikkhu without knowing that he is going to do. So this is the Somanasa Sagatam. He has seen the monk who has come at the door of the house and he has become very much you can say happy, and the pleasant feeling which is being experienced by the physical as well as mind, the boy is being experiences that I have to give something to the monk. So this is the Yan Sampayuttam, the boy who knows that if I give something to the monk, he will be also happy and I will be also happy. When there is the absence of that knowledge, that what is the merit of that giving of anything to anyone, then this is called as Yan Vipayuttam. And this is the Asankharikam, without the instigation of others. He gives something to someone, and if a father asks the boy that you give the something to the monk, this is instigated by his father or mother, then this is called as Sasankharikam. So all the actions which are being governed, so it is not possible to give all the examples for this. For a single, that how the consciousness are being performed by our consciousness or actions which are performed by our consciousness, this is the moral, you can say. So there are 8 types of moral consciousness which are discussed here. And if I perform the moral actions, there is the resultant of the moral actions also. They are 8 types of Vipaka Chitta also. And there are 8 types of Kriya Chitta, which are meant for the Arhat or Buddha. So altogether there are 24 types of Sobhan Chitta. So if you go through the text, all the Sahetuk, Kamavachar, Vipaka, Chittani, all have been given here. So 8 types of Kusala Chitta, 8 types of Vipaka Chitta, and 8 types of Kriya Chitta. And then lastly, a verse comes in the text. If you see, Vedana Yan Sankhar Vedena Chatu Visati Sahetuk Kamavachar Punya Pak Kriya Mata. That it has been said that on the basis of Vedana, that is the feeling, that is the Somanasa Vedana, Upekha Vedana, and Yan, that is the Yan Sampayuttam, that with the knowledge, association, with the association of the knowledge, and without the association of any knowledge. And this is which is instigated by others, and which is a action which is not instigated by others but himself. By this way, there are 24 types of Chatubhisati, Sahetuk Kamavachar, Punya Pak Kriya. There are 24 types of Sahetuk, that is the Lobh Dosa Moha, Alobh Adosa Moha. Altogether, there are Punya, that is the moral, Kusala, Vipak, that is the Pak, Kriya, that is the inoperative consciousness, which is meant for the Arhat. Again, all these 18 types of consciousness, out of 54 types of consciousness, they have been lastly divided. We have discussed the 54 types of consciousness, Kama Vachar Chitta. Out of 54, there are 12 types of Akusala Chitta, namely 8 Lobha Mulak, Dos Mulaka 2, Moh Mulaka 2, and then we have discussed 18 types of Kama Vachara Hetuka Chitta, namely Akusal Vipak 7, Kusal Vipak 8, Kriya 3. Altogether 18 types of Hechuk Chitta and 24 types of Kusal Vipak Kriya, that is the Sobhan Chitta. Altogether there are 54 types of Kama Vachar Chitta. So this has been summarized in one verse by Acharya Aniruddha. Kame tevis pakani punya pakani visati ekadas kriya cheti chatupanyas sabbatha. That kame, in the Kamavachar, in the planes of existence, which is in the realm of sensual pleasure, Kamavachar Bhumi, tevis pakani, altogether there are 23 types of vipaka chitta, punya punyani visati. There are moral and immoral, 12 types of akusala chitta and 8 types of kusala, Kamavachar Sahetuka chitta. Altogether, there are 20 types of consciousness. Punya Punyani Visati, Ekadasa Kriya Cheti. There are 11 types of Kriya chitta, namely Ahetuk Kriya chitta 3 and Kamavachar Sahetuk. There are 8. Altogether, there are 11 types of consciousness which are called as Kriya Chitta in the realm of Kamavachar Bhumi, that is the Kamavachar Chitta. So this is the Kamavachar Chitta. Now we are coming to the Rupavachar. We have discussed about the Kamavachar Chitta, which discusses about the 54 types of consciousness. Now we are coming to the, here we have already seen that a consciousness, टाइम हो गया है क्या है? नहीं तो इसमें टाइम लगेगा, रूपावचर में कम से कम आधा घंटा चाहिए समय. तो कल हम समराइज करने का, क्योंकि देख रहे हैं 4:48 हो गया है. सो बिकॉज इट विल बी टू heavy also Rupavachar Chitta, Rupavachar Chitta and Lokuttar. So tomorrow I will summarize the Rupavachar Chitta, Arupavachar Chitta and Lokuttar Chitta. Rupavachar are 15 in number, Arupavachar 12 in number, and Lokuttar 8 or 40. So we'll discuss in a very brief manner.